Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Ritu Mishra, Assistant Professor at Daulat Ram College, University of Delhi. Today, we are going to discuss about G protein coupled receptors and receptor tyrosine kinase. Cell signaling is the process by which cells communicate with each other through extracellular messenger molecules. Cell signalings can be of three types. The first one is autocrine signaling. In this type, the cell that is producing the messenger expresses receptors on its surface that can respond to that messenger. Thus, the cell releasing the message will stimulate or inhibit themselves. The second type is paracrine signaling. In paracrine signaling, messenger molecules travel only short distances through the extracellular space to cells that are in close proximity to the cell that is generating the message. Paracrine messenger molecules can travel only for a short distance in the body. The third type is endocrine signaling. In this type, the messenger molecules reach their target cells via passage through the bloodstream. Endocrine messengers are also called hormones, and they typically act on target cells located at distant sites in the body. Cell signaling is initiated with the release of a messenger molecule called ligand by a cell that is engaged in sending messages to the target cell through binding these specific receptors. Ligands are messenger molecules that binds to the receptor, for example, steroids and neurotransmitters, small soluble protein hormones or huge glycoproteins. Cells can only respond to a particular extracellular messengers if they express receptors that specifically recognize and bind that messenger molecules. The cells that possess those specific receptors are known as target cells. The most studied receptors are G protein coupled receptors. Heterotrimeric G proteins were discovered, purified and characterized by Martin Rodbell and Alfred Gilman. G protein coupled receptors, also known as GPCRs, are so named because they interact with G proteins. Member of the GPCR superfamily are also termed as 7 transmembrane receptors because they contain 7 transmembrane helices. Ligands for GPCR. GPCR constitutes the single largest superfamily of proteins encoded by animal genome. Included among the natural ligands that bind to GPCR are a diverse array of hormones, neurotransmitters, opium derivatives, chemoattractants, odorants, antestants and photons. Receptors for GPCR. G protein coupled receptors normally have their amino terminus present on the outside of the cell. The 7 helices that traverse the plasma membrane are connected by loops and the carboxyl terminus is present inside the cell. There are 3 loops present outside the cell that together form the ligand binding pockets whose structure varies among different GPCR. There are also 3 loops present in the cytoplasmic side of the plasma membrane that provide binding sites for intracellular signaling protein. These proteins are referred to as G proteins because they bind guanine nucleotides, GDP or GTP. All these heterotrimeric proteins consist of 3 different polypeptide subunits called alpha, beta and gamma. These are held at the plasma membrane by lipid chains that are covalently attached to the alpha and beta subunits. The guanine nucleotide binding site is present on the G alpha subunit. A G protein is said to be on when its alpha subunit is bound to GTP. G alpha subunit can turn themselves off by hydrolysis of GTP to GDP and inorganic phosphate. This results in a conformational change causing a decrease in the affinity of effector and the increase in the affinity of beta gamma subunits. Following hydrolysis of GTP, the G alpha subunit will dissociate from the effector and reassociate with the beta gamma subunit to reform the inactive heterotrimeric G protein. They are turned on by the interaction with an activated receptors and turn themselves off by hydrolysis of bound GTP after a certain interval. While active, G alpha subunit can turn on downstream effectors. Heterotrimeric G protein are of 4 types: GS, GQ, GI and G1213. This classification is based on the G alpha subunits and the effectors to which they couple. The particular response elicited by an activated GPCR depends on the type of G protein with which it interacts. GS family membrane couple receptors to adenylyl cyclase. Adenylyl cyclase is activated by GTP bound GS subunit. GQ family members contain G alpha subunits that activate PLC beta. PLC beta hydrolyzes phosphatidyl inositol bisphosphate producing inositol trisphosphate and diacylglycerol. GI family upon activation functions by inhibiting adenylyl cyclase. G1213 members are less well characterized than the other G protein families, although their inappropriate activation has been associated with excessive cell proliferation and malignant transformation. Now, steps involved in cell signaling by GPCR include the first, ligand binding to the specific GPCR and its activation. Following activation, GDPE is replaced by GTP, resulting in a conformational change in the G alpha subunits. In its GTP bound conformation, the G alpha subunit has a low affinity for G beta gamma, leading to dissociation of the trimeric complex. The third step is each dissociated G subunit with GTP attached is free to activate an effector protein such as adenyl cyclase. In this case, activation of the effector leads to the production of the second messenger, that is known as cyclic adenosine monophosphate, that is also known as CAMP. Other effectors include phospholipase C beta and cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase. Second messengers in turn activate one or more cellular signaling proteins. Following its dissociation from the G alpha subunit, the beta gamma complex also has a signaling function and it can couple to a number of different types of effectors including PLC beta, potassium ions and calcium ion channels and adenyl cyclase. To prevent overstimulation, receptors have to be blocked from continuing to be activate G protein. To regain sensitivity to future stimuli, the receptor, the G protein and the effector must all be returned to their inactive state. Desensitization, the process that blocks active receptors from turning on additional G protein while that stimulus is still acting on the outer surface of the cell. Desensitization takes place in two steps. The first step, the cytoplasmic domain of the activated GPCR is phosphorylated by a specific type of kinase called G protein coupled receptor kinase, also known as GRK. GRK forms a small family of serine threonine protein kinases that specifically recognizes activated GPCRs. Phosphorylation of GPCR leads to the second step in which there is a binding of proteins called arrestins. Arrestins form a small family of proteins that bind to GPCRs and compete for binding with heterotrimeric G proteins. As a consequence, arrestin binding prevents the further activation of additional G proteins. There are 4 types of G proteins coupled receptors. The first type in this is G protein coupled receptors that activate or inhibit adenylyl cyclase. All epinephrine receptors are G protein coupled receptors with the different types coupled to different G proteins. Both subtypes of alpha adrenergic receptors termed alpha 1 and alpha 2 are coupled to a stimulatory G protein that activates the membrane bound enzymes adenylyl cyclase. Once activated, adenylyl cyclase catalyze synthesis of the second messenger CAMP. The two subtypes of adrenergic receptors alpha 1 and alpha 2 are coupled to different G proteins. The alpha 1 adrenergic receptors is coupled to a GI proteins that inhibits adenylyl cyclase, the same effector enzyme associated with beta adrenergic receptors. Whereas the GQ protein coupled to the alpha 2 adrenergic receptors activates a different effector enzymes that generates different second messenger adrenergic receptors. Activation of adenylyl cyclase and thus the cyclic AMP level is proportional to the total concentration of GS GTP complex resulting from binding of both hormone to their respective receptors. The second type of G protein coupled receptors are the one that regulate ion channels. Neurotransmitter receptors comes under this category of G protein coupled receptors. The effector proteins for some of these is sodium ion or potassium channels. Neurotransmitter binding to these receptors causes the associated ion channels to open or close, leading to changes in the membrane potential. Other neurotransmitter receptors as well as odorants receptors in the nose and photoreceptors in the eye are G coupled receptors that indirectly modulate the activity of ion channels via the action of second messengers. The cardiac muscarinic acetylcholine receptors is a GPCR whose effector protein is potassium channel. Receptor activation causes release of the G subunit which opens potassium channels. The resulting hyperpolarization of the cell membrane slows the rate of heart muscle contraction. The trimeric G protein coupled to rhodopsin called transducin found only in the rod cells are activated by light. Light absorbing pigment 11-cis retinal are covalently bound to the rod cells. Upon absorption of the photon, the retinal moiety of the rhodopsin is very rapidly converted to all trans isomer causing a conformational change in the opsin portion that activates it. Rhodopsin, the photosensitive GPCR in rod cells, comprises the opsin protein linked to 11-cis retinal. The light induced isomerization of the 11-cis retinal moiety produces activated opsin. Opsin then activate the coupled trimeric G protein transducin that is known as GT by catalyzing exchange of free GTP for bound GTP on the GT subunit. The effector protein activated by GTP is cyclic GMP phosphodiesterase. Reduction in the cGMP level by this enzyme leads to the closing of cGMP gated sodium and calcium ion channels, hyperpolarization of the membrane and decreased release of neurotransmitters. As with other G proteins, binding of GTP to GT causes again a conformational changes in the protein that disrupt the molecule interaction with G and enable GT-GTP complex to bind to its downstream effector. Phosphorylation of light activated opsin by rhodopsin kinase and subsequent binding of arrestin to phosphorylated opsin inhibits its ability to activate transducin. This general mechanism of adaptations or desensitization is harbored by many GPCR at high ligand level. The third type of G protein coupled receptors are the one that activate phospholipase C. Stimulation of some GPCRs and other cell surface receptors leads to activation of phospholipase C which generates two second messengers. The first one is diffusible IP3 that is known as inositol triphosphate and membrane bound DAG that is diacyl glycerol. IP3 triggers opening of IP3 gated calcium ion channels in the endoplasmic reticulum and elevation of cytosolic free calcium ion. In response to elevated cytosolic calcium ion, protein kinase C is recruited to the plasma membrane which is activated by DAG. The calcium ion calmodulin complex regulates the activity of many different proteins including cyclic AMP, phosphodiesterase, nitric oxide synthase and protein kinase of phosphatases that control the activity of various transcription factor. Stimulation of acetylcholine GPCR on endothelial cell induces an increase in cytosolic calcium ion and subsequent synthesis of nitric oxide. After diffusing into surrounding smooth muscle cells, nitric oxide activates intracellular guanylate cyclase to synthesize cGMP. Synthesis of cyclic GMP in vascular smooth muscle cells leads to activation of protein kinase G, which triggers a pathway leading to muscle relaxation and vasodilation. cGMP is also produced in vascular smooth muscle cells by stimulation of cell surface receptors that have intrinsic guanylate cyclase activity. After diffusing into surrounding smooth muscle cells, nitric oxide activates intracellular guanylate cyclase to synthesize cyclic GMP. Synthesis of cyclic GMP in vascular smooth muscle cells leads to the activation of protein kinase G, which triggers a pathway leading to muscle relaxation and vasodilation. Cyclic GMP is also produced in vascular smooth muscle cells by stimulation of cell surface receptors that have intrinsic guanylate cyclase activity. These include receptors for atrial natriuretic factor, that is also known as ANF. There is another type of G protein coupled receptors that activate gene transcription. The TUBI genes, which is expressed primarily in certain areas of the brain, is involved in control of eating behavior. Most of the pathways activated by G protein coupled receptors fall into this category. Activation of phospholipase C by receptors coupled to GO or GQ proteins releases the TUBI transcription factor, which is bound to phosphatidyl bisphosphate known as PIP2 embedded in the plasma membrane of resting cells. Signal induced activation of protein kinase A often leads to phosphorylation of CREB protein, which together with CBP300 coactivators stimulates transcription of many target genes. The GPCR arrestin complex activates several cytosolic kinases, initiating cascades that leads to transcriptional activation of many genes controlling cell growth. Now coming to the second topic, that is receptor tyrosine kinase. There are many other signaling pathways that control gene activity which involves receptor tyrosine kinases. They have their intrinsic protein tyrosine kinase activity in their cytosolic domain. The ligand for RTKs are soluble or membrane bound peptide or protein hormone, which includes nerve growth factor, that is known as NGF, platelet derived growth factor known as PDGF, fibroblast growth factor known as FGP, epidermal growth factor EGF, and insulin. Ligand induced activation of RTK stimulates its tyrosine kinase activity, which subsequently stimulates the RAS MAP kinase pathway and several other signal transduction pathway. RTK signaling pathway have a wide spectrum of functions, including regulation of cell proliferation and differentiation, promotion of cell survival, modulation of cellular metabolism, and immune functions. Process of signal transduction includes receptor dimerization. All RTKs has an extracellular domain containing a ligand binding site, a single hydrophobic transmembrane helix, and a cytosolic domain that includes a region with protein tyrosine kinase activity. Most RTKs are monomeric, and ligand binding to the extracellular domain induces formation of receptor dimers. Some monomeric ligands, including FGF, bind tightly to heparan sulfate and negatively charged polysaccharide component of the extracellular matrix. This association enhances ligand binding to the monomeric receptors and formation of a dimeric receptor ligand complex. The ligand for some RTKs are dimeric. Their binding brings two receptor monomers together directly. Regardless of the mechanism by which ligand binds and locks an RTK into a functional dimeric state, the next step is always universal, that is protein kinase activation. In the resting state, the intrinsic kinase activity of an RTK is very low. In the dimeric receptors, however, the kinase is one subunit can phosphorylate one or more tyrosine residues in the activation lip near the catalytic site in the other subunit. This leads to a conformational change that facilitates the binding of ATP in some receptors, example insulin receptors, and binding of protein substrate in another receptors, example FGF receptors. The resulting enhanced kinase activity then phosphorylate other sites in the cytosolic domain of the receptors. Autophosphorylation sites on RTKs can carry out two different functions. Either they can regulate the receptor's kinase activity or serve as binding site for cytoplasmic signaling molecule. The second step involved in the process of signal transduction by RTK is phosphotyrosine dependent protein-protein interaction. Phosphotyrosine residues in activated RTKs serve as docking site for proteins involved in downstream signal transduction. Many phosphotyrosine residues in activated RTKs interact with adapter proteins, small proteins that contain SH2, PTB or SH3 domains. Adapter protein function as linkers that enable two or more signaling protein to become joined together as part of signaling complex. Adapter proteins contain an SH2 domain and one or more additional protein-protein interaction domain. For example, the adapter protein GRB2 contains one SH2 and two SH3 domain. SH3 domain bind to proline rich sequence motif. The SH3 domain of GRB2 bind constitutively to other proteins including SOS and GAB. The SH2 domain binds to phosphorylated tyrosine residues within a tyrosine X ASN motif. As a result, tyrosine phosphorylation of tyrosine X ASN motif on an RTK results in translocation of GRB2 SOS or GRB2 GAB from the cytosol to receptor, which is present at the plasma membrane. Docking proteins such as IRS supply certain receptors with additional tyrosine phosphorylation sites. Docking proteins contain either a PTB domain or an SH2 domain and a number of tyrosine phosphorylation sites. Binding of an extracellular ligand to a receptor leads to autophosphorylation of receptor, which provides a binding site for PTB or SH2 domain of the docking protein. Once bound together, the receptor phosphorylates tyrosine residues present on the docking protein. These phosphorylation sites then act as binding site for additional signaling molecule. Docking proteins provide versatility to the signaling process because the ability of receptor to turn on signaling molecules can vary with the docking protein that are expressed in a particular cell. Transcription factors that belong to STAT family play an important role in the function of the immune system. STATs contain an SH2 domain together with a tyrosine phosphorylation site that can act as a binding site for the SH2 domain of another STAT molecule. Tyrosine phosphorylation of STAT SH2 binding site situated within a dimerized receptor leads to the recruitment of STAT protein. After association with the receptor complex, tyrosine residues in these STAT protein are phosphorylated. As a result of the interaction between the phosphorylated tyrosine residue on one STAT protein and the SH2 domain on the second STAT protein and vice versa. These transcription factors will form dimers. Dimers but not monomers move to the nucleus where they stimulate the transcription of specific genes involved in an immune response. The next step in the transduction pathway is the internalization of the receptors. Signal transduction by RTK is usually terminated by internalization of the receptors. Exactly what causes receptor internalization is still unknown. The next step in the transduction pathway is the activation of RAS-MAP kinase pathway. Normally, RAS activation and the subsequent cellular response require ligand binding to an RTK or a cytokine receptors. In cell that contain a constitutively active RAS, the cellular response occurs in the absence of ligand binding. Ligand induced activation of an RTK stimulates its tyrosine kinase activity, which subsequently stimulates the RAS-MAP kinase pathway. Activated RAS triggers a kinase cascade in which RAF, MEK and MAP kinase are subsequently phosphorylated and thus activated. Activated MAP kinase dimerizes and translocates to the nucleus. Phosphorylation of one or more residues in the conserved lip region activates MAP kinase and many other protein kinases involved in the signal transduction pathways. Activation of MAP kinase after stimulation of a growth factor receptor leads to phosphorylation and activation of two transcription factors, TCF and SRF. These combines into a trimeric complex that promotes transcription of various early response genes. Higher eukaryotes has multiple MAP kinase pathway that are initiated by activation of various receptor groups including G protein coupled receptors. Different extracellular signals induce activation of different MAP kinase which regulates diverse cellular processes. The upstream initial component of MAP kinase cascade join to form large pathway specific complexes stabilized by scaffold protein. This ensures that activation of one pathway by a specific extracellular signal does not lead to activation of another pathway that share components. From the above discussion, we concluded that most signaling molecules are secreted by one cell and bind to receptors expressed by a target cell. Cell-cell signaling is divided into three general categories: endocrine, paracrine and autocrine signaling based on the distance over which signals are transmitted. G protein coupled receptors are the largest family of cell surface receptors, including the receptors for many hormones and neurotransmitters. They transmit signal to intracellular targets via the intermediary action of G protein. There are four types of G protein coupled receptors: G protein coupled receptors that activate or inhibit adenylyl cyclase, G protein coupled receptors that regulate ion channels, G protein coupled receptors that activate phospholipase C, and G protein coupled receptors that activate gene transcription. Cyclic AMP is an important second messenger in response of animal cell to a variety of hormones and odorants. Cyclic GMP is another important second messenger in animal cell as well. Another type of receptors are receptor tyrosine kinase that regulate cell proliferation and differentiation, promotion of cell survival and modulation of cellular metabolism and immune functions. All receptor tyrosine kinases has an extracellular domain containing a ligand binding site, a hydrophobic transmembrane helix and a cytosolic domain that include a region with protein tyrosine kinase activity. Most RTKs are monomeric and ligand bind to the extracellular domain induces formation of receptor dimers. Ligand induced activation of an RTK stimulates its tyrosine kinase activity, which subsequently stimulates the MAP kinase pathway. Thank you.